Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. In this video, we'll discuss what is history, the chapter that belongs to class 6. Let's start to see. First of all, Tamalini is someone that enters her house from school. Her mother, who was reading a book, who was reading her book, greets Tamalini with a hug. She collects her school bag and asks Tamalini to refer herself. She gives Tamalini some snacks to eat. She then asked Tamilni about school activities that day. Mother, Tamilni, what subject did you study today? Tamilni, history, ma. Mother, oh, nice. Did you properly understand what history is? Tamilni, yes, I understand something about history. Can you please tell me more about history? So now, history is what Tamilni just read about school in today. So she is discussing with her mother. Now let's see the timeline of history. Time in history is calculated years using BCE, that means before Christ, and at the same time, before Christ, and AD is Anno Domino, that is Common Era. So, like this is zero, the birth year of Jesus Christ, and before that is called before Common Era, before the birth of Christ, and after that, the birth of Christ, we call it AD. After this, we call it AD. Now, let's continue the conversation between Tamilni and her mother. So, what is your name? The answer was Tamilni. Tell me your mother's name. Tamilni. Mrs. Sumita. Mother. Father's name. Adityam. Mother. Tell me the name of your father's father. You mean Grandpa, Mr. Chidambaram? Mother. Do you know the name of your great grandfather, Mr. Chidambaram's father? Tamilni. Grandma always used to tell me around about one of great grandfather. You want that great grandfather's name, Amma? Mother, yes. Your great grandfather's name is Mr. Ramaswamy. Okay. Often your father shows proudly a very old wooden pen and used to tell us that it was his grandfather's pen. Do you remember it? Tamilni, yes, Amma. Normally he keeps it is in a beautiful wooden case. Mother, you are right, Tamilni. We cannot write that pen now, but father has kept it as a treasure. If you ask your father about that, he will show you the diary written by your great grandfather with the old pen. From the diary, we come to know that your great grandfather was a literate person, while most of us villagers were illiterate. Further, we can understand the lifestyle of the period and also about activities from his diary writings. Tamilni, can this small diary record so much of news, Amma? Mother, yes, Tamilni, we understand the period and lifestyle of people of old stone age from used stone tools. Like what you understand about your grandfather and his time from his diary. So, in this page, what we just discussed that the Tamilni is discussing with her mother about what is the name of her mother, then what is the name of her father, what is the name of her grandfather, then what is the name of his great grandfather. So now history is something like that. We just try to understand about our predecessors by understanding how they lived their life. Here we are discussing the name of the predecessor to the individual. So his mother, her mother's name is Sumati, her father's name is Adityam, her grandfather's name is Mr. Chidambaram, and his great grandfather's name is Ramaswamy. Often you can see his father keeps a very old pen very safe in his almirah. And Tamilni says, yes, in a wooden case, my father keeps a pen. It's a very old pen. So, this pen is like a treasure to your father because it shows that your great grandfather was a literate person. He was a literate man. And villagers, while most villagers were not literate. So this is the way Tamilni got to know about her great grandfather and grandfather by the things kept by his father in a safe case. Similarly, when we try to understand about history, we try to see the old Stone Age things like used stone tools and other things to understand about great grandfathers, our earlier predecessors who used to live in this place. You can see these images that are on your screen. And these images just tells you about how our great grandparents and great ancestors used to teach us with stone paintings on wall of caves. In ancient period, the people lived in caves, used to draw paintings on rock called rock paintings. These might have wished to record their activities through the paintings. Some major excavated sites, like just we discussed, Tamilni got to know about his history, about her history from the various things that her mother just recalled her from the various things associated with her grandparents kept saved by his father. Similarly, we get to know about our ancestors through the cave paintings and the things that we have been able to excavate from the settlement areas. Now, one thing just we missed is that the term history has been derived from the Greek word historia. Historia means learning by inquiry. So, history is just like Tamilni got to know about her great grandfather, Mr. Ramaswamy, and his grandfather, Mr. Chidambaram, and the things associated to them, like a diary or a pen, and then got to know that he was a literate man while the villagers were not a literate person. We also get to know about old Stone Age people and who used to use stone tools to teach us what the life was like back then. The term history came from a Greek word historia. Historia means learning through inquiry. So by doing certain kind of inquiries, we got to know about our ancestors. Now let's see some major excavated sites of history that just we were able to got to know about our grandparents and great ancestors and how they lived. So you can see there is Burza home in Jammu Kashmir, then there is Mehergarh in Punjab, Pakistan, then there is Kol Dhiwa, then there is Mahargada, then there is Chiran, then there is Daoji Harding, then there is Lothal in Gujarat, Bhimtek in Maharashtra, Hansang Valley, then there is Brahmagiri, then there is Payyam then there is Hallur, then there is Athri Makkam, and then is Adri Chalur. So these are certain sites that we were able to excavate. Now, the oldest sites are called Paleolithic sites. So Bhimtek is a Paleolithic site, Hang Sai is a Paleolithic site. At the same time, then comes Neolithic sites. So Neolithic sites are Brahmgiri and Payampali. Then comes Chiran, then comes Koldavida, then Mahagara, and then Mehergarh, then Barzao. And then comes Bronze Age. Bronze Age is Lothal. Then comes Iron Age of Hallur and Adi Chalur. So these are the sites from oldest to the newest order. The oldest sites that we were able to know about ancestors are Paleolithic sites, just like Bhimtek, just like Atri Mapakkam, just like Hang site, just like these 1, 2, and 3 sites that belongs to the Paleolithic age. Then comes Neolithic age. Neolithic age is Chiran, Daoji Hading, Mahagad, Koldivaha, and these are the oldest places that our ancestors were associated doing certain kind of things that we can learn how they lived, how literate they were, what things meant to them. So this is how we learn about history. Let's continue the discussion between Tamilni and her mother. Tamilni, what are the other sources that you help understand lifestyle of Stone Age people? Mother, we can came to know their hunting style through their painting on rocks. So just like we learned about her grandfather, Mr. Ramaswamy, that he was a literate man, through these paintings, you can see there is a cow, there is hunters here. So we can learn how they used to hunt. Tamilni, rock paintings? It sounds really surprising. Why did they draw these paintings? So the question in Tamilni's mind is that why these people were painting like this? What was the need? So the answer is, mother, some would have stayed back without joining the hunting team. So if these people we know human are group living animals, so certain people won't be able to go to the hunting places. They must have been standing or sitting with the children and the females to protect them from wild animals. So they started to draw paintings to teach the females and the children, like what the men used to do on hunting. So far, their benefit, these pictures could have been drawn. They might have done it as a part of their pastime. Or we can say these people used to do this as to time, pass their time and teach their children how to hunt. Tamilni, certainly, Amma. That's how we identify these lifestyles. Mother. So just to be learned that we history came from the word historia, that is a Greek word. Here you can see it's written that history comes from a Greek word historia, and we learn about history through inquiry. So we did certain kind of inquiry that was helping us to learn about the history. Now, numismatics is something that was new term that you will learn in this chapter. Numismatics means the study of coins, and epigraphy means study of inscription. So here in these books, in this chapter, you will learn about two new terms, numismatics and epigraphy. So this is it. Let's move to the other pages. Well said, Tamilni. The period between us of the first stone tools and invention of the writing system is prehistory. Stone tools took excavated material, and rock paintings are the major sources of prehistory. So, what Tamilni's mother is trying to teach her is that the first stone tools and the time that was between the first stone tools and the writing system that we have today is very, very far away. Yeah, you can understand that the stone paintings that we were discussing about belong to the Paleolithic age, rather than, in the other hand, if we go to the writing system that we have today, it is far later in the Iron Age, some period. So this is the difference. We just learned that why these people were painting. These people were painting because the writing system was not able to be in a structured, evolved as it is today. So now let's see what are the other sources of history. So the other sources of history you can see is the other sources of history is here. You can see on this page, there are literary sources of the history. The literary sources of the histories are epics and poems. We learn about history through epics and poems like Shakuntala. Then accounts from the foreign travelers. There are many foreign travelers that must have visited a given country at a given point of time. So their perspective is a great source of history than work of Indian authors, like what Indian authors belong, what their thought was at that given point of time. This is a source of history. Then folk songs and ballads, like what are the songs, themes that belong to that period. So these are great sources of history because we just learned that history came from the word historia, that is a Greek word, and it meant learning through inquiry. So this is the sources from which we do certain kind of inquiry to understand what really history was all about. Then there is religious literature. This was secular literature. Then there is religious literature that, like Ramayana, you must have read about the story of Lord Ram, the the prince who was sent into an exile for 14 years. Then there is Mahabharata, the war between Pandavas and Kauravas. Then there is some devotional literature also that belongs to like Indra and all the Devtas that you must have listened to. So these are one type of sources of history that we just know. Then the other sources of history that we just study are archaeological sources. So the archaeological sources of history are pottery. Pottery is something like the things that we excavate from excavation sites. They tells us like what people really used to think about in those days. Coins, like what coins really, coin designs are really great source of history. Rock edicts, like people used to do stone carvings, and what these stone carvings really tells us that how this was the lifestyle of people back then. Then we just learned about toys. Toys are a great source of history also, because toys tell the kind of mindset and the evolution of the thought process was there in the minds of the people at that point of time. Then we were able to understand temple wall inscription. Temple wall inscription just tells you about the structure of the society, because temple was the highest place in the social structure. Very educated people used to go to the temples. Then tools. Tools are very commonly a great source of history, because they tell us like what was the mindset, what was the thought process, what was the intelligence of the people in that given point of time, because tools are the really how much the brain, how much the mind evolved at any given point of time for an individual human must have been at in history. So these are also great source of history. Then meta-pillars. Meta-pillars was usually a great source of show off and the strength of a king. So the metal pillar also tells about the social structure. Then there is ornaments. Ornaments again, jewelries, how hard people used to work to establish their social structure, from temples to metal pillars, from tools to toys. And ornaments are really also teaching us about the social working and structure of the society. Then comes palaces. When you just try to go to various places, you will see big monuments that are prehistoric, that are older than old. They are ancient. So when we try to study these things, they also tell us a lot about history. Then there comes the fort. Forts are also great source of history because fortification was something that people had a certain mindset. There was a certain civilization, and they fortified that rules the civilization to just continue their mindset, their belief system, and said, we belong to this fort, and this is how we thought. Like Britishers came into India, they built forts. Mughals came into India, they built forts. Khiljis came into India, they built forts. So every kingdom has been able to successfully build forts. These forts just tell how they lived, how they felt, how they eat. Temples, stupas, monasteries, these are the things that are great source of history. So this was the sources of history that we just discussed. Now let's move to the next page, the sources of history just we discussed. So now let's move to the case study. Let's do some kind of case study here. So the case study that we will do is of the mighty emperor Ashoka. Ashoka was someone that is considered to be a great king in Indian history. The most famous ruler of the ancient India is Ashok, and was during the period that Buddhism spread in different parts of the Asia. Ashoka gave up war. The big story is that Ashoka gave up war after seeing many people grieving from death after the Kalinga war. He embraced Buddhism and then devoted his life to spread the message of peace and dharma. His service for cause of public good was exemplary. So whatever we learned so far about Ashoka is that mighty Ashok is someone from the history books that has been recalled many a times and considered to be someone good or great. So the most famous ruler of the ancient India is Ashok, and there is a belief that the Buddhism spread during his times on the Indian subcontinent. And he also believed to have gave up war by seeing people grieving from death in the Kalinga war. Kalinga is today's Odisha. If you are thinking what Kalinga part of India is, it's Odisha. So he embraced Buddhism and then devoted his life for the spread of the message of the peace because he's seen that war brings death with it. So he avoided war and promoted Buddhism and Dharma. His service was for the cause of public good. So he just really promoted the idea of public good. He was the first ruler to give up victory. And do you know there is many a time seen that people continue to war, continue to expand their territories, but in the case of Ashoka, it was something very opposite. Now, why we are studying Ashoka? Many of you will think that why we are discussing Ashoka, because Ashoka is just like the great grand ancestor of us. Like just we Tamilni got to know about her history by discussing with her mom, like what was my father's name, that is Aditya, what was my grandfather's name? Chidambaram. What was my great grandfather's name? Ramaswamy. So these are the things that she was able to learn about her grandparents, and that taught about the history that she holds with her, she carries with herself. So similarly, history is all about learning through inquiry, because just we learned that history is derived from the Greek word historia, learning from inquiry. We learn about our history through excavation sites, through wall paintings that we just discussed. So similarly, many of you will think that why discussing Ashoka is so important. Ashoka is like just ancestor of Tamil. So understanding about Ashoka will bring certain kind of intelligence to us, like what that time period on Indian subcontinent was like when Ashoka lived. Excuse me. Now let's discuss what the other things that we will learn. He was the first to build hospital for animals. Now this is some veterinary exemplary veterinary success and service by the sides of Ashoka, that he was trying to serve not just human by spreading Buddhism. After the Kalinga War, he was also trying to promote hospitality for animals also. He was the first to lay roads. Like now, this is one of the greatest things that we can see he was able to do in his times. He was not able to just stop the war. He was able to promote Buddhism. He was able to create exemplary work for the public good, and at the same time he built a hospital for animals, built a road. Ashoka Chakra with 24 spokes is our national flag, was taken from Sarnath Pillar of Ashoka. So Ashoka's gifts, Ashoka's hard work is still existing in our country's history and society. You can see that this pillar, Ashoka pillar, has was taken or is today a great part of our cultural history, and it is used many a times by the government of India to show that what history Indian subcontinent carries with itself. And that you see the chakra of 24 spokes, like here the 24 spoke chakra is used in an Indian national flag. At the same time, Sarnath Pillar of Ashok is something that is very important part of our history. So you can see that history is very kind to Ashok. Now let's see what Ashoka, other things that he was able to do during the times he was there on Indian subcontinent. Even though Emperor Ashoka was a great guy, his greatness have been unknown until 19th century. The material of evidence provided by William Jones and James Princip and Alexander Cunningham reveal the greatness of Emperor Ashoka. So now again, just we learned history is all about inquiry. It is something we inquire about. So Ashoka's history, Ashoka's presence on Indian subcontinent, Indian soil was something very unknown till 19th century. It was because of the William Jones, James Persep, Alexander Cunningham that we got to know about Ashok, what he did and what things like Sarnath Pillar and how much he did for the Indian subcontinent. So, based on these accounts, Charles Allen wrote a book, The Search of India's Lost Emperor. So, he was considered to be the lost emperor of India. After a long period of Muslim rule, we lost the accounts of what Ashoka must have been able to achieve and do during his time. But just because the gifts of William John, James Princip, Alexander Cunningham, we got to know about what Ashoka really meant to India. And we got to know about the comprehensive account of Ashoka on India. Many researches made thereafter brought Ashoka's glorious rule to light. So this was one of the first book that brought Ashoka into light after a period of unknown existence in history books for thousands and thousands of years in 19th century, in 1800s. If you understand 19th century means 1800s, we got to know about Ashoka, what he did, Sarnath pillar, and his 24 spoke Ashok Chakra is something that we carry as our national pride. These inscriptions were observed on the rocks. Sanchi Stupa and Sarnath Pillar help understand the greatness of Ashoka to the world. Now this is Sanchi Stoop, again something very great. You can see the architecture of Sanchi Stoop. This was built by Ashok, and we can see thousands and thousands years ago what things Ashoka was able to do during his times on earth. Now let's move on. Now one can understand the importance of historical research. History is all about historia. Historia means learning through inquiry. So we did a little bit of inquiry. We got to know two things or two about Ashoka, things or two about excavation sites, things or two. Let's recall what we just discussed. We got to know about Ashoka, who was a great king. His achievements are still very important to the Indian subcontinent. whether you call it national treasure, whether you call it success as a history student. There's a lot of things. Then we got to know that how do we learn about history. We study pottery, we study coins, we study tools, ornaments, we study rock addictions, we study temple walls, we study metal pillars, we study poems, epics, works, folk songs, things or two that we learn about history. So this is it. There is excavation site that we just study about. So these are the things that we really inquire and study about to know about what history really means. So let's move forward. So now, but for the efforts of the scholars, the greatness of Emperor Ashok would not have come into light. Mother, do you know what proto-history is? Now, the Tamilni and the discussion between her mother and her is now moving to proto-history. We got to know about Ashoka, someone who belonged to medieval history, I guess, and now she is teaching Tamilni. Let's go to proto-history. Like proto-history is something very historic, prehistoric. Like time goes way back. Then we can count Tamilni. That is the period between prehistory and history, so we call it proto-history. Mother, exactly the period from which records in writing are available but not yet deciphered, called proto-history. So, what is proto-history? Proto-history means the period of for which record in writing are available but not yet deciphered is called proto-history. So, proto-history is something that is written, that is inscriptions are available, sources are available, but it is yet to be explored, yet to be projected, yet to be taught. But our ancestors did not live in such a safe environment. So now today we are leading a safe life with all modern equipments. You can see today we are leading a life with all modern equipments, but our ancestors not live in such environment. There might have been chances of wild animals entering in their caves, but they realized that dogs could help them to prevent entry of such dangerous animals by its sniffing skills. So hence they started domesticated dogs for the protection of the hunting and activities. So you can see, just like we learn about history through inquiry, our ancestors also learned to live and survive in the environment through inquiry. They lived in caves, and there was always wild animals coming in. There was a lot of problems every single day. They didn't actually had modern equipments like ACs, fans, lights that we do have today. So they must have learned through inquiry. Like great example of learning through inquiry is domestication of animals like dogs. Dogs really have great sniffing skills that just written here you can learn. These sniffing skills were able to protect the children and the females when the men used to go for hunting. So this is something that you can see that men throughout history learned through inquiry. From this, we also know how inscriptions, monuments, copper plates account foreigners and foreign travelers. Folk tales play a vital role in construction and reconstruction of the history. So, what in this chapter we learned so far is that not just inscription, monuments, copper plates of foreigners or foreign travelers, it is folk tales also that help us construct and reconstruct history, because history is something that we read and learn through inquiry. So Tamilni, now I completely understand what history is. So history is basically what it has been defined in this statement. It is a Greek word. The Greek word is historia. Historia means learning through inquiry. So this is it. And let's move to some question answers and see what this chapter holds. Summary. Let's try to understand the summary of this chapter. The lifestyle of prehistoric people can be understood from the stone tools. Proto-history is a period between prehistory and history. Early humans domesticated dogs for protection. Mighty Ashok emperor followed the path of peace and dharma. Ashok Chakra had 24 spokes. It is in our national flag and it was taken from Sarnath Pillar. So these are two things that are very important. It is how many spokes does the Ashok Chakra had? It had 24, and it was taken from Sarnath Pillar. So, okay, now let's see some glossary sources. Sources is something that we are studying here. So sources, we were studying a place or a person, text, object from which some data can be obtained is called a source. Ancestor, a person related to you who lived long time ago. We learned about Tamilni learned about her ancestors through inquiry. Ancestors were the people who lived a long time ago. Monument is a statue. So this is it. So these are the question answers. What was the step taken by the early men to collect food? Like how we used to collect food, they just did hunting. So the answer is hunting. Now, statement prehistoric men went along with dog for hunting. Dogs, with its sniffing power, could find out other animals. So which statement is true? Like, did they went to hunting, or uh, or they use sniffing skills? I guess the answer is B. Uh, they just did it for both purpose. The object used by the early man are excavated. These are preserved to know the lifestyle of the people. Find out which of the following is related to the statement. The object used by early man are excavated. They are preserved to know the lifestyle of the people. Museum is the place. I guess the answer is museum. So the wrong pair, we have to find the wrong pair here. Cats and first domesticated, this is wrong. We domesticated dogs. Old Stone Age stone tools, this is true. Rock painting, wall of the caves, yes. Copper plates, a source of history, yes, you can learn, but cats, they were not first domesticated. So these are the questions that we can use. You can see the old age man lived mostly in caves. The answer is caves. Dash is the father of history. You have to just go to the page 1. You will see who was the father of the history. We have to find out who is the father of the history. Who is the father of the history? Who is the father of history? Let's do Google. Give me a second. I'll answer this question. Who is the father of history? 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 Herodotus is considered to be the father of history. So the answer is Herodotus. Herodotus is the father of history. So the question was, who is the father of history? We discussed that history of father of the history was Herodotus. Now let's move to the other questions. So there are a lot many questions that you will understand, you will learn, and true and false, many questions, many answers. There's a lot of questions that you will see here. Let's discuss some questions and then we will close the chapter 1. So can you say any two advantages of writing a diary? Two advantages. One advantage is it helps you keep you disciplined, and second, it is a great account of history. Do you know of accountability? It brings a lot of accountability. What are the benefits of museum? Can you tell? It's a great place to learn about history. It's a great source of history, and the history can be preserved there. Name some tools used by early man. Can you name some tools? This is a great question. Why were painting drawn on rocks? It could be to teach the children or the upcoming generation or to pass time. That could be name any two artifacts. A lot of things that we discussed in the chapter. So this is it. This was the chapter 1, and the chapter 1's name was what is history. So today we just completed the chapter what is history. If you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Till then, thank you. Hope you like the video. Thank you.